Hey there, Postal here. So today we're taking a look at it's really funny that this is happening since we actually talked about these pilots being available on my live stream on Saturday. Not that I knew, we just happened to be flying them. But Flight of the Valkyries is going to be available from today, August 15th through September 1st. Today's video is going to take a quick look at each of the pilots themselves. And then later in the week, we're going to have some gameplay from each of those pilots. So let's take a look. All right, so Flight of the Valkyries is a sale for 3 different premium pilots. Really good pilots, actually. The female pilots. One for the United States, one for Germany, and one for the Soviet Union. We've got Mary, Charlotte, and Marina. Basically, these different pilots are going to be available. Each pilot you could purchase separately on the North American server for $12.63. Very specific number there. Mary Loveheart, you'll receive 2,500 gold. Plus Mary Loveheart. As a 7-point pilot, she's already trained for the P-47B. You can only purchase it once per account, which I guess makes sense because if you're able to put Mary in all your American planes, it would be pretty crazy. Charlotte is going to be the same price, same bonus, 2,500 gold. Her as a pilot with 7 skill points. She's automatically trained for the BF-110E, Tier 5 German heavy fighter. And last but not least is Marina, again, a 7-point pilot, 2,500 gold, $12.63 I'm willing to bet. Hey, look at that. She's trained for the IL-2 2-seater. You can also purchase all 3 of them together with 12,500 gold. So you would get, 5,000 extra gold. And it looks like you get some intensive training, 450% to crew experience. Wow, that's some crazy frickin' intensive training. And all that's for $53. So more than the $37 or $38 that you would expect, all 3 of them being put together, but you are getting 5,000 more gold. And this intensive training is pretty ridiculous. 450% crew training. You get 10 of those, 2 hours. So 20 hours worth of 450% crew experience. I'm not sure I've ever actually seen this before. That's really nuts. Whether it's worth $54 is, well, let's take a look. So what are these pilots? Let's take a look at them in some more detail. Like I said, I'm going to be posting some videos of some actual gameplay, but today we're just going to be looking at the details of them. Don't mind my cat if she pushes my microphone into my face. That's just what she does. So let's start with Marina, because I've actually changed her plane. I've put her in the IL-8. She comes in the pre-trained for the IL-2 2-seater. But you can see right here, we've got some special skills. So instead of having Demolition Expert, we have Supernova. And we have Femme Fatale. So what do these do? Well, again, these work for any plane that you train them for. So you could conceivably, and many people will train these for their tier 10s or for their almost overpowered lower tier planes and make them basically overpowered. Supernova increases the damage caused by bombs and rockets and their blast radius by 15%. So Demolition Expert does 10%. Supernova does an extra 5%. Pretty good, but I mean, not worthy of being called a supernova. If the aircraft is destroyed by a collision with terrain or a ground target, the aircraft explodes and deals damage in the affected area equal to double the maximum number of hit points of this aircraft. Think about that. So if you need to capture a sector and you're going to die anyway, you can crash into a section of the ground target and do your damage to that ground target doubly. Meaning that if you buff up your hit points of this plane, or whatever plane you happen to put Marina in, she will be doing even more damage to the ground. Honestly, I kind of feel like if you're crashing into the ground, you should be doing some sort of damage to the ground anyway. But hey, who am I to argue with the special skill set of Marina? So this is the Soviet female pilot that you can get. and she's great in ground attackers. Like, just, she's built for being in a ground attacker, whatever one you happen to put her in. The special pilot skill is going to be the Femme Fatale. Sets a ground target on fire as a result of continuous shooting with forward firing weapons and hitting unarmored sections of the ground target. So basically, you're going to be able to set ground targets on fire a lot easier. And just in case you're unaware of this, once a ground target is on fire, it will continue to burn until it's destroyed. So once you set a ground target on fire, leave it alone, it will eventually blow up. The only reason you'd want to continue shooting at it is if there's like an enemy shooting at it as well, and you want to make sure you're the one that actually gets the kill. But if you're there by yourself, or if it's just friendlies that are in that particular section, once it's set on fire, forget about it. Get to the next section to start destroying that as well. With my last 2 pilot points here, I've gone ahead and put Protection Expert. That's going to help the durability of any equipment on the plane's durability. And so that's going to buff the hit points even more, which is going to make Supernova all that much better of a skill. In fact, if you look, we'll go into more detail on my planes in the future, but I've put improved reinforced airframe on here to help the aircraft hit points, and I'll continue to do things to help the hit points simply because it helps her Supernova skill become even more effective. So yeah, so this is your Soviet ground attacker female pilot. Let's take a quick look at the German female pilot. She is preset to fly the Bf-110E, as you see here. I have not changed her, but a lot of people will put her in planes like, well, you don't even need to retrain her for planes like a BVP-203 at Tier 8, or a Bf-110C-6 with that super long cannon. And here's the reason why. This item right here, Dazzling Star, increases the range at which enemy aircraft are detected and the range at which the aircraft is detected by enemy aircraft. Alright, so you can see them 40% sooner, and they can't see you 10%, or they see you 10% later. Well, that doesn't seem all that crazy. I mean, it's good. It's nice to be able to avoid being detected and be able to see where they're coming from. You're able to kind of determine your point of attack, or if you need to run away, if that's the better tactic. But that's not like anything crazy. Oh, but it works really well with Celestial Fury. In a head-on attack, the pilot fires at the most vulnerable sections of an enemy aircraft. It improves the chances of causing critical damage to an enemy aircraft and setting it on fire, and increases the damage caused in a head-on attack by 20%. So, right, you're able to see them from further away, determine your angle of attack so you can get a head-on attack, and you're going to do significantly more damage with that head-on attack. And so, crazy, right? Bf-110E is a great plane for head-on attacks anyway, but just imagine all the planes, all the German planes that you do head-on attacks with, right? And I mean, you could put her on any of the 262s. Conceivably, it just says damage caused by head-on attack. I would love to check this out. I wonder if putting her in a Batwing would cause 20% damage increase with the rockets. That's obviously going to be a head-on attack, right? Something to think about. So there's a lot of different planes in the German lines, whether they're fighters, multi-role fighters, or heavy fighters that like to do head-on attacks. Charlotte is going to excel in any one of those particular, any of those scenarios. I've gone ahead and put Marksman 1 on here. Again, just want to get my accuracy up, and I'm going to go for Marksman 2, because all in on the head-on attack kind of situation once I've got that taken care of. So yeah, really nice skill set there. And Charlotte, unlike Marina is going to be really built for ground attackers. Charlotte could be conceivably in any German plane and still be effective, really, other than bombers and to a lesser extent fighters. She'd even be good on on ground attackers. If you've ever gone head-on versus an ME-329, 265, the MEP 1102s, and 1099s. All those can do really crazy damage when they're going head on. To add to it would just be phenomenal. Might be kind of a waste, but obviously Charlotte will do well in multi-rolls and heavy fighters. Almost all of them for the German line. All right, so last but not least, we've got Mary Loveheart. So this is the American female pilot. Actually did a couple videos on her and been live streaming her a little bit recently, just because she fits so well into the P38L that was recently grinded. So let's take a look at her. So first thing you're going to notice, instead of Engine Guru 1, you get Eagle's Wings. Increases the engine thrust by 2% and the boost duration by 10%. So rather than just getting that engine thrust buff, you also get a boost duration buff. So obviously this is going to be really helpful in anything that's got decent boost already. So most American multi-rolls, certainly American heavy fighters, conceivably American bombers if you're a masochist, you're going to get that extra boost, which is always nice, right? Nothing crazy though. Let's take a look at the crazy one. So Valkyrie's Wrath. Valkyrie's Wrath, the rockets and bombs released in a dive cause double damage to grounded targets. Takes effect when the aircraft speed approaches maximum dive speed and pitch angle exceeds 45 degrees. So, the way this works is, if you're at a reasonable altitude and you're diving down, you need to be at more than 45, so can't be here, gotta be like this. And once you start approaching maximum speed, so basically I've noticed once you kind of get in the yellow speed, this symbol will pop up and you're doing double damage to the ground targets with your bombs and rockets. With Mary Loveheart in my as my pilot on the P38L, I was able to flip mining facilities on my own. She is preset for the P47B, which is an excellent plane to have her in. But really, any plane that can do air, any multi-roll or heavy fighter that does air-to-ground damage, is going to be a good fit for her. Reason you wouldn't have her in a ground attacker is A, the Americans don't have ground attackers, or bombers for that matter. You don't want to put her in a bomber because it only takes effect when you're going down at more than a 45-degree angle. And American bombers tend to get a little nutty when you're angled at that kind of angle. So multi-rolls and heavy fighters are going to be a perfect fit for her. P47 is a prime example, but of course you can move her to, again, any of the American heavy fighters, any of the P38s, especially the F7F. Conceivably, to a lesser extent, the Tier 8 and Tier 9, the XF5U and the F2H. Really wouldn't probably want to put her in something like an XF90 just because you've only got 2 bombs. It's kind of a waste of her experience. But any of the multi-rolls, literally any of the multi-rolls are going to be a great fit for her because they've got the flexibility. The American ones have the flexibility to do those dives and really do some significant damage there. I've buffed it even further by putting Demolition Expert on here. So damage caused by bombs and rockets increase the blast radius and the damage by 10%. And so again, the bombs and rockets are just going to do even more. And I did get 2 more points for her. I'm on 9 points. So I've put Aerodynamics Expert on here for her because I figured get that speed going a little bit easier with the equipment. And it will set her up for even more success when it comes to getting to that maximum speed quicker. So that's a brief overview of these 3 pilots. Again, we're going to be posting some videos this week on all 3 of these pilots. And hopefully it'll be giving you guys some perspective. So $12.63 American for 2,500 gold and the pilots. It's going to be up to you and your budget. These pilots are all excellent. I've got to say, I was able to there was an event and I was able to win them a while ago. I absolutely love them. I honestly forget that I've got Charlotte. I need to move her up to a higher tier pilot, a higher tier plane because I don't play tier 5 all that often. And I might need to move Marina up higher too. But the point is, they're absolutely excellent for what they are. And you always have a lot of fun when you've got them. And they always do some, that little bit of oomph that gives you some unexpected bonuses, right? Being able to take Charlotte out and be a little bit more confident in your head-on engagements. just your ability to do damage. And the German heavy fighters obviously do excellent damage anyway. I really want to see about the BVP 210 and 212, see if she's any good in those. The Soviet ground attackers do excellent damage already, but being able to have that extra oomph of if you're going to die anyway, let's crash into a building, pretty darn awesome in my opinion. And just having the overall flexibility of Mary and being able to do ground damage, a significant amount of ground damage, is always super helpful. And so you can just do that little bit of extra with these pilots that can sometimes turn a battle around. Or sometimes put people in their place. So whether or not it's worth 1263 is really up to if you've got 1263 lying around. To me, the pilots are absolutely excellent. I do recommend them, but I know that not everybody's got that kind of money lying around. So other than that, I hope everybody enjoyed this particular video. Keep your eyes open for my videos on the 3 different pilots. I'll probably be changing Charlotte out to a higher tier plane. And we'll see about that. Probably my first video tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.